Hello, I'm going to be ranking Doctor Who today. I'm going to be making some content about Doctor Who in the coming weeks for my YouTube channel, and I thought it would be good for posterity's sake to let everyone have it out in the open, my biases when it comes to Doctor Who, specifically each season, which ones I think are good, which ones I think are bad, because I think letting people know my bias is important if I'm going to be doing discussion about said topic. And I know it's just Doctor Who, so whatever, who cares? Starting off with season 1, what do I think of season 1? I'll straight off the bat with you, honest and true. I think season 1 of Doctor Who is perfect. I think everything Russell T Davies was trying to convey in that series, working class sensibilities versus outdated ideologies, the way media interacts with our lives, the consumerist nature of post 9/11 Western society. It all comes together so perfectly throughout the series. It's woven so delicately, and then finally, the finale really just hammers it home perfectly. The Doctor waking up on the set of Big Brother, and then it being a ploy by the Daleks to keep human as cattle is
fantastic.
So I think season 1 lands perfectly. It's a great season. Season 2, on the other hand, let me pull up the episodes so I have a reference of what I don't like about it. Christmas Invasion is a perfectly good Russell episode about politics and whatnot. Not much to say about it. It's fine. It's a fine introductory episode to the Doctor regenerating. New Earth, I really like. That's my biggest problem with season 2, is I really like a lot of it, but then I really don't like a lot of it at the same time. Tooth and Claw, giant werewolf running around. The opening sequence with the monks is weird. And I have a hard time watching it. I've heard people argue that it's actually quite good, but I know I personally have had a hard time watching it, so if I can't recommend an episode to someone, I'm not going to call it good. I also don't like the relationship between Ten and Rose at all. I think it's cringy and annoying. I know it is literally what sold the show to the West. I mean, I don't think Canada, America, or Mexico would have fallen in love with Doctor Who quite the same if it hadn't been for the romance. I just don't like it. It doesn't make for great sci-fi. I mean, relationships can make for great sci-fi. Look at Annihilation or Blade Runner. But in Doctor Who, I don't think the concept of relationships fits here. It's mostly just for fandom. But that said, Girl in the Fireplace is a great episode. Mickey's good. Mickey helps the season a lot. I like Mickey's character, and I like Rose's mom a lot too, Jackie. Jackie's very good. So Girl in the Fireplace is great, but that's Moffat. It's a great episode. Rise of the Cybermen and Age of Steel, also fantastic. I love those episodes so much. Genuinely good Cybermen episodes. None of the Cybermen stories in Old Who are very good. They just aren't. If you think they are, you're lying to yourself. Maybe the 10th planet, kind of, even though it's a bit haphazardly thrown together. You come to now, and 21st century fears are on display. You know, you've got the Bluetooth devices, and I think Cybermen stories work really well in the 21st century. I think Dalek stories were better in the olden days, and I think Cybermen stories are better in the now-in days. But I don't like the Idiot's Lantern at all, and I really don't like The Impossible Planet or The Satan's Pit, which I know is not the general consensus. Young me liked it because I'm like, hell yeah, the Doctor's fighting the devil, and I'm all edgy and stupid and young. But the episode just feels so outdated. I went back to watch it because I'm trying to rewatch all of Doctor Who in preparation for season 13. I thought I was going to like this episode. I haven't seen it since I originally watched it, if I'm completely honest, and I did not like it. It is an out-of-date Base Under Siege story. This Base Under Siege feels like it's ripped directly out of the 70s. On top of that, you've got the Ood, which are literally just a slave class, and they die at the end, and no one does a thing about it. No one cares. It just seems really out of touch and kind of icky, and the resolution doesn't really make up for any of it. And again, I don't like 10 and Rose's relationship, and the crutch of that episode is their relationship, and I hate it. Basically, and the finale between the Cybermen and the Daleks is hype. It's hype, but it's not very good. There's not a lot going. There's actually too much going on. Actually, there's not enough explanation for any of it. It's just too much going on, and big event again, really just to surround the Doctor and Rose's relationship, but I don't care. But that said, I will put it in the good position. I know I was a little long-winded with that, but I know season 2 has risen in people's rankings in the last couple of years, and people are really excited for Russell T Davies, but season 1 is perfect. Season 2, I don't think if he wrote a season like season 2 right now, anyone would like it. You'd probably be kidding yourself if you said it was really good. Season 2 is not Russell at his best. Season 3, I'm going to say is great. It's better than season 2. A little bit. Everything about season 2 is perfected and enhanced by season 3. Specifically the finale and the relationship. Martha and Ten have a great relationship. It's not a good relationship, and that's why I like it. Ten does come off vain and as a dick, but I like that, and I'm also happy they didn't go too far into the realm of him just being the biggest dick possible. Martha is a great companion, and the finale, unlike season 2's, which was a mess of just too much to focus on, season 3's finale really just is spoilers. The Master is evil and crazy, and it's also a little dark. Humans killing their ancestors in order to keep surviving because they've been tricked by a crazy lunatic, and he's torturing people on a ship, and it feels more adult than season 2. But you can also tell, like, the BBC or Russell himself was like, we need to tone this down. We can't go Torchwood with this. We have to stay family show. So the Master will come out going, I can't decide whether you should live or die. And you have to take that. You have to take that with the good. So I like season 3 a lot. A lot of good episodes. A lot of really good episodes. Blink, obviously. I like the Jadoon on the moon. Daleks in Manhattan. Another not mainstream opinion, I don't think, unless things have changed, but I think Daleks Take Manhattan has become one of my favorite Dalek episodes in modern times. I went back to watch it again, and I remember looking at it the first time and going, this is stupid, I hate this. And it's another episode I couldn't share with people. I couldn't show people that episode. But I think from a science fiction perspective, the story about the Daleks and focusing less on their fascist tendencies, politically fascist tendencies, and focusing more on their purity, eugenicist tendencies, and setting it in 1930s New York during the Great Depression. Oh yeah, Helen Raynor. I think a lot of people don't like her writing on Doctor Who, specifically because of Daleks in Manhattan, but I really, if you're a Doctor Who fan, go back and watch it, because I think there's a lot more oomph to it than you may have passed on, because that isn't what Daleks do. Daleks don't breed. Daleks don't mutate into other hybrids. I get that it kind of breaks the show's concept of Daleks, but I think that's for a very good reason, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I think you should watch Daleks Take Manhattan again, and the evolution of the Daleks. So I'm going to say season 3 is full of enough good episodes, especially with those two, to be a great season. Season 4, I'm also going to put in great. I don't think anyone's going to have an issue with that. It's not nearly perfect. There's a lot of fluff The season starts off pretty slow. The Partners in Crime is not a very good episode. I'm not wrong. The finale, well, epic in nature, and I'm sure it would have been really cool to watch in 2008, doesn't really hold up if you're just watching a marathon of Doctor Who. Because you know Jack, you know Sarah Jane briefly, but it just doesn't have the same, I think, gravitas that it would if it was on BBC television or BBC America in 2008 or 9, whenever it aired in America and Canada. The rest of the series is pretty good. The Planet of the Ood is a really nice episode, a really good callback to the failings of what I think is one of the worst episodes of season 2, but I know people will disagree with that, and that's fine. But I think Planet of the Ood really fixes the Ood and makes them what they needed to be. Unicorn and the Wasp is actually a very good episode. Pompeii is not a very good episode. It's a philosophy episode with very loose philosophy, not really sci-fi. The science fiction in it is kind of stupid, but it's a good character drama. It's a good look into who Donna and Ten are at this point in their lives, especially nice since we saw them earlier. So it's a passable episode. The whole season as a whole, you've got Midnight, you've got Silence in the Library, you've got some really home runs, you got Turn Left, you got some really good episodes of Doctor Who, so it's definitely a great season, but there's some duds early on, and the finale doesn't really hold up. So I'm going to say great, not nearly perfect. It's definitely great. The specials, I thought I was going to have a problem with, because I put the Time Lord Victoria specials is what I called them, because there are also Name of the Doctor specials, and then there's going to be specials for the 13th Doctor, so I'm going to have a special section here eventually. So I was thinking, I'm going to have an issue with that, because you've got some really bad episodes and then some really good episodes, and now that I've come to it, I realize it's mostly bad episodes, with 1-2 good ones in there. Bad, you've got The Next Doctor is bad. You've got The Planet of the Dead, I think, with the little bug people and the bus. That's a bad episode. You've technically got the 3D animated Area 51 mini-movie special, which is horrible. I rented that for me and my family because we were all watching Doctor Who. When it came out, I rented that on DVD, and we sat there for an hour with a blank expression on everyone's face. And normally, my sister and my mother and I would be like talking back and forth about all the things we were thinking about in this episode. Not this one. That episode sucked. Do not watch it. If anyone out there tells you to watch that special, don't. Then you've got Water on Mars, which is amazing. Water on Mars is a really strong episode. And then you've got The End of Time, part 1 and 2. And Wilf carries those episodes. Wilf is really good. You can't hate Wilf, but those episodes are not good. They're passable episodes. They're really epic in scale, and I think Russell was really good at writing episodes, but I don't think Russell was great at writing finales, because we did get a writer right after him who was really good at writing finales, in my opinion. Again, I don't think a lot of people will agree with that, but I'll get to that when we get to Matt Smith. I think the specials are good. I think the specials are good. I think they're on par with season 2, where I don't like a lot of it, but the bad can be ignored because it doesn't have anything to do with anything. And then you just sit and you watch Waters on Mars and End of Time part 1 and 2, and you're good. And I think the emotion that I feel watching End of Time part 2 at the end, when he's doing his really cheesy goodbye tour, is nice. It's warming. It's fine. The Master's plan makes no sense. You know what? I gotta, by my own rules, I think I have to put it in passable. it's a passable ending to a series, which is a shame because it could have been really good. But Waters on Mars is really good, and I like what they're doing. All right, I'm putting it in good because the ending is the perfect ending for the 10th Doctor. He went insane. He had to betray his belief system. Okay, it's good. The specials are good. You can skip them. Yeah, that's what I'm going with that. Season 5. It's perfect or nearly perfect. I'm going to put it in nearly perfect, and then I'm going to talk myself through it and decide whether or not I think it's perfect or nearly perfect. Season 5, introduction to a new Doctor. Everyone was really, really upset when David Tennant left. Remember that. And Matt Smith comes in, and the 11th hour is by far the best introduction to a Doctor we've gotten. Are there any duds in that season? Vampires in Venice is meh, but I wouldn't say it's a dud. The finale, the Pandora opens, is perfect. The Flesh and Stone, Flesh and Blood episodes are great. I think The Beast Below is a really underrated episode. I think The Beast Below is one of Stephen Moffat's best. And it wraps up, it's a nice story about Amy and Rory. It's about the Doctor ruining a relationship completely by accident. I'm going to say season 5 is perfect. It's a perfect season. I know I had to think about it a little bit, but that's mostly because I don't really care for Vampires in Venice. But it is a perfectly good episode if you take it in the context of the story of season 5 is a bit of a fairy tale about the relationship between Amy and Rory. I think Vampires in Venice does that nicely. It's a good setting for that, with a good story about that. So I'm sticking it in perfect because season 1 has... there's nothing bad about season 1. There's nothing bad. Boomtown, I guess, if I had to be specific. So Boomtown and Vampires in Venice are weak links, but they're not the worst thing in the world. Alrighty. Season 6. Season 6 is very good. I'm going to put it great to start with, and then I'm going to talk through it. Season 6, I like the back to forward nature of it. I like the way Moffat plays with time in season 6. It's his whole weird story about the Doctor ending up on Trenzalore, which he was still fleshing out. But season 6 ultimately has a really cool gimmick to it. There are some duds. There are definitely some duds this season. Let me jump ahead. I haven't had to look for a while. The Impossible Astronaut, Day of the Moon, really good. I really like those 2 episodes. Really cool way of setting up the series. Really cool way of setting up the series. Curse of the Black Spot is not good. Curse of the Black Spot is a functional science fiction episode. That's probably a dud. Yeah, Data, I agree. It's an okay episode. Doctor's Wife. I don't like The Doctor's Wife. I don't think it's a good episode. Everyone likes it because Neil Gaiman wrote it. I can't stand that episode. It's fan-wanky. It's cool. It is a cool episode, but it isn't what I look for in an episode of Doctor Who, personally. That doesn't mean it's bad. I just don't like it. Rebel Flesh and the Almost People are good, but they miss the mark a lot of the time. Alright, this series is slipping for me the more I go through this. A Good Man Goes to War is a good plot episode. It's a great plot episode. Moffat does plot episodes really well, where it's just like, here's plot, here's what you need to know. Really good. Let's Kill Hitler is also a good plot episode. These two, the little hump in the middle of the season is just plot, and they're both very good. I like meeting River Song for the first time. That's very cool. But again, not great. Night Terrors is horrible. I hate Night Terrors. But Night Terrors does work in the Moffat era because Stephen Moffat, of course, is writing Doctor Who as a fairy tale. And the idea of an alien changeling coming in and taking the place of a kid. And I understand that it's a bit about the fears of raising a child that's different is kind of what that episode's about. And for that, I give it credit, but I don't think it's written well. Girl Who Waited is really good. I love that episode. The God Complex is really good. Love that episode. Closing Time, I do not like Closing Time. I don't like... I almost want to take season 5 out of Perfect because I remember The Lodger. The Lodger's a perfectly fine episode. I don't find it unbearable. In fact, I like the concept. But Closing Time is not good at all. It's a bad Cyberman episode. And The Wedding of Riversong is a mush, a mess. It's huge concept. It's big concept, but it's a mess. I'm gonna put season 6 in good. I don't think season 6 deserves to be any higher than that. There's some great stuff in there, but it's just not enough to make up for some of the bad stuff in there or the underwhelming mess stuff. Season 7A. Where to start with season 7A? I recently went back and watched this season. I skipped 6 because I remember liking 6, but now that I think about it, I don't like 6 as much as I remember. I remember the good parts, kind of cool, epic parts, but none of it's really like gripping sci-fi. Season 7A, on the other hand, I like the Asylum of the Daleks a lot. That's a good way of doing a Dalek story. And it also kind of, it's tying back into the relationship issues of Amy and Rory, which is all resolved really quickly this season. It's better than passable. It's definitely better than passable. Asylum of the Daleks, Dinosaurs in the Spaceship is actually really good. It's one of Chibnall's best. It's easily one of Chibnall's best. It's funny. It's cute. It's quirky. You really like all the characters. In it. A Town Called Mercy is pretty good. It's a story we've seen played out with the Doctor a billion times, so it's not groundbreaking. Power of Three is horrible. It's a great idea, but the ending is so bad. It's one of the Chibnall. It's one of the best episodes of being bad. Angels Take Manhattan is an episode I, on rewatch, liked a lot more. Really good emotional moments between the Doctor and Amy and Rory and River. The show is about studying the characters at its core, less about the sci-fi, more about the drama. So, in that sense, season 7A does well. I think I'm going to keep season 7A in good. Season 7B is full of really meh episodes. I like Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. I like Hyde. And that's it. That is all I like. Yeah, I'm going to say season 7B is my first passable season. It is just weak all the way through. If you disagree, fight me on it, but nope, that is where season 7B belongs in my book. The Name of the Doctor specials. That includes Day of the Doctor, The Time of the Doctor, and The Night of the Doctor. 3 episodes, one of them being the 50th special, one of them being Matt Smith's last episode. I think it's cheating a little bit because there's only 3 episodes in this series, or in this run of specials. Paul McGann comes out of there in The Night of the Doctor and just nails it. He just nails it without even having performed the Doctor other than audio form for a long time. And audio form is, I'm saying it's worse, but it's different than on TV, and he nails the Doctor still in the flesh, which is pretty cool. John Hurt, obviously. The 50th special isn't about Matt Smith or the 10th Doctor. Going back and watching it, it's not about the 11th or 10th Doctor. It's about the War Doctor, and it's one episode that builds up, breaks down, and then builds back up the War Doctor so perfectly well. And John Hurt, rest in peace, John. He was a great guy, great actor. So happy he got to be a doctor, and they gave him like the best episode. So I definitely say those are nearly perfect. There's some things about the 50th special I don't like, but a lot more that I do like. Season 8. Starting off in great, because I really like Season 8. I didn't like Season 8 when I first watched it. When it came out, after the specials, after Matt Smith regenerated, Deep Breath is a hard watch. It is hard to go from kooky, quirky Matt Smith to Peter Capaldi being a grump. Deep Breath has grown on me. I like the story Moffat's trying to tell in Season 8 about self-reflection, about learning who you are and growing as a person. It's definitely not perfect, and I wouldn't say it's nearly perfect. But Peter Capaldi in Season 8, as well as Clara, being kind of the hybrid we'll get to Season 9. But it's a lot about growth and character. And I think Deep Breath, once you know that, once you get the full context of Season 8, and you understand what it's about, going back to Deep Breath, it's a lot better than if you just jumped in from Matt Smith dying and regenerating to Peter Capaldi coming out and going, you Humpty Dumpty, and being all rude and crass. There's a shot at the end that really, sums up the episode really nicely, and the theme of the series really nicely, where the Doctor's holding a mirror up to show the Clockwork Droid its face, and you see its reflection, but you also see his reflection. He doesn't know who he is anymore. He doesn't know who his face is. And I actually really like a lot of the hostile nature between him and Danny Pink. And Danny Pink was one of the best characters added to the show in a long time. Danny Pink was a side character, but he was this really strong side character who you knew really well. I really like Danny Pink, and I like his competition with the Doctor, or the Doctor's aloof competition with him. And Clara is actually a character in Season 8, and I'm so happy about that. I really like Clara, Season 8 and 9. She's easily one of the best companions on the show. Season 9, nearly perfect. Season 9 is nearly perfect. I think people would have an issue with that. I don't know if people would have an issue with that. I don't keep too hard a pulse on the fandom, but I'm pretty sure people would take issue with me putting Season 9 in nearly perfect. The Witch's Familiar and The Magician's Apprentice are really, really nice episodes. If only for the line where the Doctor goes to Davros and says, "The only reason I came is because you asked. You were sick and you asked." And I'm like, that's really getting back to the core of what the Doctor means to be. Again, Moffat was really exploring the personality of the Doctor, which unfortunately had been kind of ignored for most of Doctor Who's history. We never really got a really defined core identity for the Doctor, and Capaldi is really trying to find that core identity, which works off of everything we've seen prior, and I think will work with everything. You can still see bits of Capaldi in Jodie's performance, I think, but we'll get to Jodie in a second. I know that's going to be a contentious topic. Season 9 starts off really strong. It's still about identity, but this time more about how toxic Clara and the Doctor have become for each other. The episodes with me are probably the weakest episodes this season, as well as the Sleep No More episode. I going back and watching Sleep No More, I think it's better than I remember it. I think I just looked at the Sandman monsters and went, "Oh, that's stupid." But no, I think it was not like groundbreaking science fiction, but it's a science fiction area I'd like to see Doctor Who tread into more. So I digress. The rest of Season 9, Under the Lake, Me is important for the Doctor to understand that he's immortal and Clara isn't. maybe it's not nearly perfect, but the finale though. All three parts of the finale I think are fantastic. The one with the Trap Street and Riggsy, the obviously Heaven Sent, and I really like Hellbent. People don't like Hellbent because the Doctor gets home to Gallifrey, and they're like, "Oh, that was supposed to be the big thing. He gets home to Gallifrey. Oh, it's gonna be this huge big thing," and then he's like, "Time to bounce, time to go." Of course he was going to do that. Doctor was sad for a little bit. He had this guilt. He found Gallifrey, got over the guilt like that, because he decided it's not his fault everyone died. It's actually Rassilon's, and he's right. I like it. I think that's exactly what the Doctor, all of his incarnations, again, a perfect distillation of what the Doctor would do. Any of the Doctors, if the third Doctor got back to Gallifrey after being exiled on Earth, and if he started going crazy, and he was like, I need to get back to Gallifrey, he'd get there, and he'd probably say, oh, these people are more boring. I was having a lot of fun on Earth. I was having a lot of fun being a scientific advisor for the military. I got to do a bunch of wacky, stupid stuff. I got to do experiments and break rules and do Venusian Aikido. He would immediately leave. Again, I think that makes perfect sense in the character of the Doctor, which we're trying to explore in Moffat's story. So him leaving Gallifrey at the end makes sense. I don't super understand the ending with Clara being in the TARDIS. That's from season 6, the diner. But I really like season 9. I think the story it's trying to tell may not be seamless, but it is as close to perfect as Doctor Who can get. Where to go with season 10? I like Bill, and I like Nardole, and I like Missy. I like all of them. Starting great, because it's great. Bill is a little bit one note. I would argue that Bill is a little underdeveloped as a character. It's all there. Everything that makes her character is there. So it's passable, but some people will have complained in the past that Bill is just sort of a one note. Like, I like girls. I'm a lesbian. And I don't think that's true. I think there's more to Bill than that. That said, I wish there was more explanation about her life with her aunt and what happened to her mother. I wish there was a little bit more about that. But then again, she did lose her mother when she was a child. That is mentioned in the first episode. The Doctor goes out of his way to take pictures of her mother so she'll have something to remember her by. It works. Damn it. Now I'm thinking season 10 is better than season 9. Hold on. Something's wrong with me. Is season 10 better than season 9? The pilot is a really good episode. Smile is... Oh, never mind. I forgot Smile. Alright. Smile is not a very good episode. Thin Ice is pretty good. Knock Knock is horrible. Oh, never mind. Knock Knock is horrible. Oxygen is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's pretty good. It's like a company store, but your life's on the line more so than normal. I like that. So Oxygen's pretty good. Okay, Oxygen's great. I'll say Oxygen's great. Extremis is also great. That the Blind Doctor little 4 episodes are really strong. Oxygen, Extremis, Pyramid at the End of the World, and then The Lie of the Land are all really good. Lie of the Land is the first time I saw an episode of Doctor Who and went, does Stephen Moffat watch Rick and Morty? I think Stephen Moffat has watched Rick and Morty. The way he writes the 12th Doctor in that episode is very Rick, where he's just like cackling evilly because he's crashing a boat into a pier. Might be within character, but I don't know. It just felt the Doctor feels weird in that episode. That's the weakest link of those 4 episodes. Empress of Mars is actually really good. I really like Empress of Mars. And The World Enough Time and The Doctor Falls are both really good. They are weakened by the fact that the BBC did reveal the twist before the episode came out. Because if I didn't know that, I would have actually been taken by surprise, I think. because that character is a perfectly normal Doctor Who character. I don't know who got cold feet at the BBC and was like, oh, we gotta sell this season, we've got this guy coming back, we gotta show he's in the episode. It sucked. I'm gonna stick with season 10 being good, specifically because there are some big duds in it. I'm gonna stick with 10. I'm gonna stick with great for 10. Now for this part, which I'm gonna hopefully blitz through, because I don't want to make anyone too angry on either side. Season 11. I like The Woman Who Fell to Earth. I do. And I actually really like the Ghost Monument. I think the Ghost Monument is fantastic. It's a really fun, almost Star Wars-y episode. It feels like a Star Wars. Rose is better than okay, I think. But then the Bating and the Donald Trump spider episode and the Battle of Ragnarok, I wouldn't recommend this season to anyone. Demons of Punjab is actually really good. It's one of the best episodes. Okay, you know what? Kerblam is bad. Witchfinders is bad. It takes you away. You know what? If I went back and watched season 11, would I say it's good? Only 2 episodes are like really good to me, technically speaking. Demons of the Punjab and It Takes You Away. Everything else about this series is pretty bland. Oh, geez. Yeah, it's passable. And then season 12. Season 12 is bad. There's nothing I can say. I would have thought going into this that maybe it would be the other way around, but it's not. Season 12 is horrible. I forget some reviewer I watch called the writing style in Spyfall 2 like Chris Chibnall had copy and pasted Wikipedia articles and called it an episode, and I agree. There's no immersion into history. It's just look at history. It is history. It happened. Great. Orphan 55 is horrible and preachy. Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror is pointless and really embarrassing. Again, look at history. There are scorpions. Horrible episode. Fugitive of the Judoon is neat. I like it for what it's worth. I do like Fugitive of the Judoon. It's a neat idea. But that's all I can say. It's not a good episode. It's neat. Praxis is actually the best episode this season. I love Praxis. I think it's a really good environmental story about something that I don't think a lot of people know about, which is microplastics. I don't think enough people in the world know about microplastics. And I think it tells a really, really good story about those. And I really like the astronaut and his weird drunk husband. Can you hear me? Don't remember that episode. Hunting of Via Diodati might be the worst episode of Doctor Who I've ever seen. Ascension of the Cybermen, it might be the second worst episode of Doctor Who I've ever seen. Who cares? And The Timeless Children might be the most confusing and pointless episode of Doctor Who I've ever seen. So season 12 goes in bad, and it's staying in bad. And that is where I leave that. That's my list. So when I'm making Doctor Who content, come back to this list and you will see how I feel about Doctor Who, what my opinions of it are. And that's really all I gotta say. So this has been the greatest show in the galaxy.